Well everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Samsung Galaxy Watch 4 and see how this particular smartwatch holds up in 2024. Now the thing I will tell you about the Samsung Galaxy Watch 4 is that this is a very good watch. It was a very popular watch when it first came out, but it's still a very good, worthwhile watch I would recommend a lot of people to use as long as your Samsung phone or Android phone is supported with this watch and you are buying this watch with either like the massive used price discount or you have some trade-in, because if you're paying a massive amount of money for this watch, it's not worth it. We've already gotten 2 successors to this thing, so this thing is a little bit older, but it's still a very good watch that has a lot of capability. If you want to pick up this watch or some other ones I would recommend buying this year, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now starting off with the outside of the Samsung Galaxy Watch 4, you can see that we basically have 2 different models that we can choose from. We can choose the 40mm watch or the 44mm watch. And the thing I like about the Galaxy Watch 4 and mostly all Samsung Galaxy watches is that we basically do have this type of capability here where it's essentially this rounded design. I know it seems very common and a lot of watches have it, but it's always nice coming from an Apple Watch to these types of watches because it has that type of capability, which is actually very cool. So with this type of device, you're getting that type of capability, which is actually very awesome. The display itself is very nice too. Like these are OLED displays. They look very, very sharp. And I definitely do think for the most part, these Super AMOLED displays, depending on the size you get, are very good and they're just like so beautiful. And they're always on displays too if you really want to have that on too. Now on the side, you're getting these 2 buttons. So a home button and a back button. This is another really cool thing because you can just tap on those buttons if you want to go back and forth. But it also supports like gestures, so you can just go ahead and utilize the gestures if you want to. That's another really cool thing going on for this particular watch as well. It's a rounded design, which I like. And on the back side, you're getting the little standard, charger pad that you have. The cool thing with these watches, which is something I love so much, especially if you have a Samsung phone, you can go ahead and basically connect this thing to your Samsung Galaxy phone and wirelessly charge it from your particular device. So from your Samsung watch, from your Samsung phone or whatever, you can wirelessly charge your Galaxy Watch from those devices, which is something that's really cool. I love that so much, and that is by far one of my major advantages of using a Samsung Galaxy Watch with a Samsung phone. Now, one of the saddest things going on for basically all Samsung Galaxy Watches is the bands. I feel like the bands, putting them on and off and just connecting them in the band selections isn't really as good as some of the competitors. I feel like Apple Watch bands are better, and I feel like Google Pixel Watch bands, the way to insert it and kind of put it in and out is an overall better system than these particular watches. I think Samsung should change the way they make the bands. They still haven't changed it yet, but I do think they should change the way they kind of create the bands and everything, because I don't think it's a good system. You have to pry it open. It doesn't feel like a secure fit. Of course, maybe it's just in my head, but I've never liked it, and I hope in the future Samsung can change it. But if you're not changing your bands every day, then this is not really that big of a deal in my opinion. So take it as you will, but that's kind of another thing going on for this particular watch from that particular perspective as well. So on the outside, that kind of covers it up here for the most part. Not anything super crazy, but it is one thing that kind of goes on here that I can kind of see for the most part. Now, from a performance perspective, because from everything else with a watch, it's going to be perfectly fine. You're going to be getting a very good powered watch for the most part, depending on what you're going to do. Now, if you're going through and if you're editing videos on your watch or playing games, then that's going to be completely different. But if you're just using it to check notifications and track workouts and everything like that, these watches are perfectly fine. These are excellent watches to use from that perspective, and that is something I like a lot when I'm having a phone like the Samsung Galaxy Watch 4. These are very good phones from a performance perspective. Of course, they're not as good as the Galaxy Watch 6, but they're still fairly solid, and that's something I like and prefer with these types of watches. You're getting 1.5 gigabytes of RAM, which I think is still perfectly fine, and it's an overall still a fairly powerful watch for the most part. And Samsung's still selling it too, which is really cool. Now, because this thing is built on Wear OS, you're getting all those cool Android, features that you're getting with a little bit of a skin from Samsung. That's actually kind of a big skin, but it's totally okay. And that is kind of a cool advantage going on for these particular watches. So they work really well with Samsung phones, and they do work with your, other Android phones too, like your Google Pixel Watch and other things like that. But I would tell you that's a really cool advantage of buying the Galaxy Watch 4 with your Samsung phone. But if you don't have a Samsung phone, you can still connect it and use it on your device anyways. And it's a cool thing as long as you have a, Android device of some sort. So personally for me, that is also another thing that I basically get a major thumbs up with, because that's a very, very cool thing going on for this particular phone as well. So to basically sum it up, I would definitely tell you the Samsung Galaxy Watch 4 is a very good watch to buy. I still think as long as you have a phone that's compatible, this thing is a very good watch, and I'm a massive fan of it. It's not a perfect watch though. There are definitely watches that are better and give you more bang for your buck probably. I think a Google Pixel Watch in the used market is also very good. But if you're going to go ahead and use a phone as a typical phone, I think this is a very good option. I would, probably recommend buying it for the most part. And anytime I say phone in this video, I basically meant to say, watch, but that's basically all I have to say here. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.